And I'm so grateful that Bees was willing to lead us through this little exercise that a few of us did a couple weeks ago to begin thinking about who we are, and what we want to tell people about ourselves. So, Bee, over to you.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good
Morning.
Good
morning.
morning, Dee.
This is a fun exercise. I hope we enjoy doing it. Uh, we have been selected among 20 churches across the country for to participate in this crowdfunding idea of how churches might be able to make money through crowdfunding. It's how younger people are now looking forward to donating their money instead of institutions that usually collect funds. This is something of the future that we hope that we might be doing. Two seminaries are running this, and they picked 20 churches from around the country, and we're one of the 20.
That's great.
Wow.
Um, 5 of us, Betsy, Kat, Ken, Joe, and I went to a program where they ran us through some of the same activities that we're going to do today. So it's a little different, but it's fun, and I hope you enjoy it. You might need a scrap piece of paper. Do you have a scrap piece of paper near your? You don't need to write a lot down, but you might want to write some things down. Maybe a few words or something. It's not going to be formal, so any scrap sheet of paper will be okay.
Okay.
What we'd like you to do is, in 1 or 2 minutes, tell what makes you proud, happy, or makes you love being a part of Resurrection. What actions were taken? What makes us different from all the other churches around us? And these statements should be personal. What makes you proud to be part of Resurrection? What do you love about Resurrection when you come to church? Do we need a minute or two to think, or somebody want to start now?
A couple of things that I was thinking that actually echo the themes today's service was that I remember Resurrection. We were, especially when I joined, we were willing to try a lot of different things, like the folk mass that people wanted to do, and see if it bore fruit, and also that, well, just the diversity of our congregation, are a couple of things that attract me.
Those are good ideas, and I'm so glad that we're doing it with the whole congregation, because the 5 of us didn't even think of that as an idea. So it's really nice to hear different people's ideas. And there are no right or wrong answers. We're not going to criticize anything you say. This is your own idea of what you love about Resurrection or why you come to Resurrection. Who's next?
I'll go next. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm thinking back a few years to a fella who showed up at our church, took a lot of interest in the church, became very active in the church. He turned out to be homeless, penniless and homeless. Parishioners took care of him. They literally fed him, clothed him, and several parishioners actually housed him for an extended period of time because he needed it. And I think this is a really good example. It's a much more dramatic example than many cases, but I think it's a great example of what Resurrection does. I know many parishioners do that and much more, and none of us even knows about a lot of it. But I think that's one of its greatest characteristics.
Makes your heart feel good to hear that. Who else would like to to go.
Well, I think one thing that I particularly appreciate is our flexibility. We don't seem to ever be stymied by anything. If we meet an obstacle, we do all we can to get around it. And in the time that I've been there, I think we come out even stronger and more united and together. I've been to several different churches, and flexibility is not a word I would use for several of them. They're very, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're very bound to the way they do things, either in the service or coffee hour or whatever. And I've appreciated while I've been here the fact that, you know, on Easter Vigil we did something different a couple of years ago, and everybody seems open to that. And it seems to me it enriches my faith life and my life overall.
I would like to build on what Lenore said, because I had the same thing written down. I think it has to do with our smaller size, which gives us an opportunity to connect with each other in the decision-making process that a larger church can't do.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say something. I like the fact that we are community, because that is so important for me.
Yeah.
I really need the community that we have, and I like being a part of it. And another thing I'd like to say is I was so glad back in 2016 when we said that we would host the food pantry at our church, and since then we've had to turn it over, the physical part over to St. James, but we have since 2016, October of 2016, we fed more than 15,000 people.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
I'd like to say, it's Linda.
Okay.
Okay.
It's Linda. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'd like to say that I think in all of our activities, but especially in different group activities, we grow spiritually and we grow deeper. And we respect each other's spirituality and we grow from that as well. And even when we've gone to Zoom on the Bible study, I think we've even grown deeper in doing that. And for me, that's something that I really love about this parish.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Kind of on the administrative side, for want of a better word, having come from the Roman Catholic Church to the Episcopal Church, choosing the vestry by lots, I think is the phrase I want, because it gives everybody in the community a chance to be on the vestry. And I have gone to a couple Episcopal churches, and there was this, I was started to talk to somebody, and somebody said, well, you know, he's the senior warden. And it was sort of like, you know, you have to be introduced to the senior warden because he's special. And it's more community based. Everybody can serve the church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree with that, Maureen.
What did you say, Dennis?
I said I agree with that. I was about to say something similar.
I can't hear you.
People can't hear too well.
He agrees with what
Dennis said
Maureen
he
said.
agreed. Right.
Okay.
So he said ditto, basically.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Yeah,
B, I'd like to share the story that I told when we did the exercise. And thinking back to where we were in 2013, where we saw that the church was in trouble, was going downhill. It was time to think about calling a new rector. And I've seen a lot of churches in the same situation where they've just let it go, thinking that the rector's going to save them or something's going to happen, that they don't have to do anything. Remember, we spent a whole year in a discernment process. We tried to come up with a lot of different scenarios. We talked about each of them. We had little subgroups. Some teams went to visit other churches. And to me, the willingness to not sit around and let something happen to us, but to take charge of our own future and change it and transform who we were is a remarkable accomplishment for a church.
Yes.
Yes.
And such a small community, basically. I mean, our small group is powerful.
Well, again, I would say I think it's not only powerful, it's a key feature of who we are that helps us move more with more agility and thoughtfulness, because we're able to stay in much more personal contact in the decision-making processes. It's not like some vestry body is sitting up here and then there are these people, you know, we're all in connection with each other one way or another. I'm not saying we all talk all the time, but we have that ability to be in connection.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, B, it's Kim. I'd like to echo what Kat and Susan just said. That was one of my proudest prouds of Resurrection is that the parish was willing to really take a tremendous leap of faith and live our faith in the community by making the decision regarding affordable housing and building our new church. That to me was just really inspiring. And then kind of following on along that commitment to community is the food pantry, as Louise mentioned. I mean, really how we live our faith, I think, has just been something that I've been so impressed with, and it's really kind of broadened my faith, if you will, through all of you. And the second thing I just wanted to add is, and we've talked about this, some folks have talked about this also, but our inclusiveness, not only in terms of each other and our parish, but the community and how we build on that through our communication, through Josie notes and Inspire. I mean, there's an ongoing outreach through our parish care group. My goodness, I mean, there's just such a commitment to keep us all together and communicating and hearing from each other and hearing about our activities. I think that goes a long way to making people feel included and wanting to do more with each other.
Mm-hmm. Agree on that.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
This is Pam and Clem. We wanted to just share that two of the things that make us really proud of the Resurrection Church is when the bishop came and the church gave the presentation of the amazing ministry it did through the affordable housing, building a new church, etc. I think it was a very proud moment when each speaker spoke with such a heartfelt experience that they had, what it meant to them as they were involved in the ministry. It wasn't just like a report of the amazing things being done, but how it affected the lives of all the different speakers of our church members was just amazing. Another thing that made us really proud was when the coronavirus happened and the church just was very much in the beginning and in the very progressive way, connecting everybody, doing things that other churches weren't, continuing its ministries in the pantry and every place else. It's like it's even stronger and bigger and better than it was before, it seems. And, you know, just in general, Clem and I were saying we felt so proud to be Episcopalians when that pastor of the St. John Church in D.C. spoke up so beautifully after the incident of how the person in the White House went and held the Bible upside down in front of St. John Church. But the way she spoke made me think, boy, we maybe falsely, we shouldn't feel so proud, but I felt so proud that we are Episcopalians. So anyhow, all the things that everybody else said was wonderful also.
Thank you. A few other people who haven't spoken yet. Would you like to before we move on?
Well, this is Judy. I just wanted to say that I'm very happy and proud of the fact that we have had such interesting seminarians from all over the world. And I think that has been such a great experience, getting to know people from other cultures and their religious beliefs and just what they've taught us about their cultures. And I'm just very proud of the fact that we're able to do that.
I think.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, excuse me. I was going to say, to build on what you were saying, I think this happens because we are who we are. We attract other kinds of people who feel safe here. And I think, we welcome seminarians from other cultures. There are a lot of other churches that may not. They may take them, but they don't see the gift that it is to them. And again, I think that's part of our being a smaller congregation. And with respect to what you're doing this for, this film thing or whatever, I think that larger churches just assume they're much safer and that they're better because they're big. But I think we are an example of a church that is successful precisely because we're smaller.
The little engine of the car, huh?
Well, that and the fact that Joe makes each seminarian a very important part of who we are. And she sees that happens.
Much the way Jim did too.
Yeah, she gives them many opportunities.
Thank
to
you.
be part
I
of the
do.
services.
And we do, but you all make them feel welcome.
Yeah, she's reflecting who we are.
Yeah.
True.
Hey,
Building on what Judy said about seminarians, recall that some of our seminarians were among the very first female priests in the Episcopal Church.
Yeah, good point.
So Dennis is saying Resurrection has always been at the leading edge of inclusion.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I felt what I put down when we were doing this exercise was a love that is tangible that is here at Resurrection. I know that I feel that this is really a family for me. I feel that I would be supported if I needed support. I feel that I would try to help support other people if they needed support. I just feel a lot of love. And that is so important to me. And it makes me proud and just happy to come on Sunday morning and be with people who we think a lot differently in some ways, but a lot alike in some ways. And accepting of other people is one of the things we feel good about.
Yeah, welcoming.
Thank you, Dee.
I
think a lot of us feel that way.
I remember when I first thought about coming to Goodwin House, and I didn't know whether I wanted to go to a retirement home or not, but then I realized that there were about 5 or 6 people from Resurrection that lived here, so that just made me feel like, okay, I'm going to be with my family. So that made me feel really good.
I'd like to say that also, we don't have a lot of children at Resurrection, but we make them feel like family and we include them in our activities, and even work on having a game night for them or other things so they know that we all care about them. I've been to a lot of churches where they separate the children from the adults and they never have that interaction. So it's nice that we make the children feel that they're part of our family.
Yeah, I agree.
And I asked Jack, my grandson, this morning, I said, told him what we were going to be talking about. And I said, he tells me he loves church and he hates not being able to go on Sunday. And I say, well, tell me what it is you like about church, Jack. And he said, I like Sunday school. He said, I like teachers and I like that we do arts and crafts activities. And I said, and is there anything else you like about the church? He said, I like sitting with you during church time. So I get to do that too. And
That's
I
nice.
get to go to Sunday school. Yeah.
Boy, what a sweetheart.
Yeah.
You just juiced Gay up for a while. There's a line in the tribute that was published for Tammy that rings true of Resurrection for me. It says, Tammy was a beloved member of Church of the Resurrection, and she was, And that line, you could take Tammy's name out and substitute everyone else's name, and everyone here is a beloved member of Church of the Resurrection. So, it's a hallmark of serious love.
And would be missed if they weren't there, as Tammy will be.
Yeah, I've had times when I was glad the resurrection was like my one refuge in a storm. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay, unless there are any other ones, we're going to go on to the next part of this process. And that is, let's see. We were told that there are basic parts of this process that we're going through. And the basic parts are, we have to share with the people who we want to encourage them to fund us. We have to share our why, our how, like how we do things, and our what it is we do. But today we're just going to work on our why. And I want to read you a few things that they told us about the why so that you can keep them in mind as we make our why statements. Let's see. A why tells, this is what a why tells. It tells our purpose, our cause, or our belief. It explains to the outside person looking in on resurrection what we do and why we do it. It explains, in my talk, about the impact that we have on each other and also on people outside the church. It should be action oriented. And while we're,
It should be what oriented?
Action.
Action.
Oh, action. I thought you said off.
And while we're going through this exercise, we'll be using what they call the limbic part of the brain, where we have emotional responses like trust, hope, feelings, pride, love. These are the things that are going to be the side of the brain we're going to use, and these are the things we're going to be thinking about as we go into that.
You're showing all the people.
It's going to include your personal why. It doesn't have to talk about the church as an institution, but we're trying to get at your personal why. And what we're aiming at is articulating a clear vision of our purpose, our cause, or our belief that is rooted in reality.
Robert's here. Dennis and Susie. Betsy. Uh-oh, what happened?
Not hearing her.
Recording.
You were muted. You're muted, B. You just have to unmute. There you go.
Okay. Did you miss a lot of it? Should I go back over anything?
No, I don't think we did.
Personal why for our purpose, cause, or belief. That's where we ended up.
Okay. And this statement is hopefully going to be inspiring. It should be simple and clear. It should be free of what's. It's in service to people. So we'll use we do this or we do that or we believe. It should stand for something. And it should feel right for us. When we put these statements down, we all can agree that this is what our church does. It's not like something foreign. I never heard that before. I've never seen that at church. It feels like us and it feels right for us. Are there any questions about what a why statement might be? Great, great. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Kat, and it looks like Joe too, have written down some of your words as you were giving us statements of what you were proud about and what you loved about the church. Not your whole statement, but just words that came up maybe more than once. And listen to those words. If some of them strike you, write them down. If not, don't. And we're going to use these words to make up our inspirational why statement. Kat, do you want to read some?
Diversity, flexibility, spirituality, inclusion, love, commitment to community.
Thank you.
And smaller size.
Okay.
What were some themes?
Joe, did you write down anything differently? Can't hear you.
I just wrote down what everybody said, so I didn't filter it. I think Kat's list is really good.
Yeah.
Okay. So think about Kat's list.
Yeah, can I just say something about Kat's last comment? I think rather than smaller size, it's the ability to interact personally with everyone. That ability and capacity is always there to interact with everyone individually or in a group in our congregation.
I also think that I love what Kat said and Susan, and I think it's not just diversity that we have in our thoughts and minds and hearts, but it's the unity in our diversity, and how we completely embrace justice, fairness, inclusion, so much for everybody. But that unity, you don't have to be the same to be, you have to be diverse in unity. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Any other suggestions?
That's a very important point she made.
I like the fact that so many of us mentioned the feeling of family. So many of us don't have our families close by, and the church does feel like family.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to add on to that. I think part of the feeling of family and community that we've been mentioning is it depends on having a level of trust in each other that doesn't always exist in organizations.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Good point.
Now, I was also thinking trust in God. We all seem to trust that God's going to get us to the next place. We have that unity in that we trust in that. And trust that Joe is going to lead us to the right place. I saw that.
Right.
Let me digress just a sec. I led a retreat this weekend for 8 deacon candidates in our diocese. And
can you hear, dear?
Yeah, and so what they were intrigued by was our project, our redevelopment project. and how we ended up with that. And when I told them that it wasn't until, we'd already begun building the building that we were fairly certain, but not positive, that we can afford the thing. there was an audible gasp over Zoom. So I echo the trust in each other and trust in God.
Yeah.
Good point.
And it probably shows up in other ways in our church too. Trusting that we'll get around a problem, like like Lenora said, that we don't feel the problem holding us up, but we believe that coming together with all of us will find the answer or a way to get around the problem. That includes trust too.
God will provide.
Yeah.
Well, but it's not pie in the sky here. I was very impressed that one of the 21 options on the table way back when Kat was talking about was, have we finished the work God gave us to do? Should we declare success and close the doors? Not declare failure and close the doors, declare success. And then we realized God had something else for us to do, darn it, in a way. But in a way, it's our great moment. We've had many great moments at Resurrection. I want to name one, and I see Jay and Kathy are here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I think how Resurrection responded to the death of their son, it was a great moment in, Resurrection history. And it's a sad moment, in a way for them. But the way that the community rallied around, and even the seminary professor whose name I won't mention, whose child died, the way the community rallied around that family is just an outpouring of love that it shows through in everything that Resurrection does. It's a hallmark.
That's compassion.
Yeah. And love.
And empathy.
Yeah.
Right.
And family. But an infinitely expanding family, I might add. Not a closed family.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comments? Because what we're going to do now is write, each of us, our own why statement. From just could be one sentence, from your point of view, from your personal feelings about what Resurrection has to offer. And you can use, if you want to, some of the words that Kat wrote down, or words that you have been thinking about as we've been talking. But write down your own statement and we'll share them.
Say again what a why statement is.
Pardon?
Say again what a why statement is.
A why statement is it's an inspiring statement. It is simple and clear
about
what the church offers.
What we do and why. I have
purpose, cause, or belief.
Right.
Action oriented.
Right. It stands for something and it feels right for Resurrection when you say it.
Well, I have something I just jotted down. Because we have the love and resolve to continue to make a difference in the lives of the people who live around us.
That sounds good.
Beautiful.
Can you say that again, Lenore?
We have the love and resolve to continue to make a difference in the lives of the people who live around us.
Amen. That's great.
And she said that much better. My thought was that Resurrection has the capacity to meet each individual where the individual is and accept that and let them be there and let them grow with the community and not try to change them.
That's
Excellent. Nicely said, too.
What you've just said is the classic, cool, this is so cool, classic definition for radical welcome. And that's good. That's awesome because you've nailed it.
Beautiful.
So say it again.
Say it again, the same words.
Yeah. Did you write it?
God only speaks through me once.
Oh, thank God it's being recorded then.
Yeah.
A resurrection has the capacity to meet individuals where they are and allow them to be there and let them to grow into the community if they want to, without feeling that they have to be changed or that the community feels like they have to do the changing.
That's good.
Right.
Now, you expanded on my four words, Barbara. I said Resurrection Church accepts everyone.
Yes.
Yes, excellent.
I have one that's not completely finished at the end, but we trust in the love of God and each other to radically change the world around us.
Ooh.
Oh, very good.
Say that again.
We trust in the love of God and each other to radically change the world around us. That ending part seems a little too global to me, but it's thought.
To
nice thought.
radically change the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious. That's what we're doing.
I like that, Betsy.
Yeah. That's good.
Excellent. Beautiful.
Well, it was using your words.
I know it's not unique to resurrection, but the phrase that is printed on the back of the t-shirts that we have. Do you remember what it says on the back of the t-shirts?
No.
No.
What?
It says, God's work, our hands, voices, and hearts committed to our community and the world.
Our mission
I
statement.
love that.
It's our mission statement.
Yeah.
Would you read that again, Maureen?
It's God's work, our heart, our hands, voices, and hearts committed to our community and the world. But I saw
Beautiful.
that on the back of somebody else's t-shirt that wasn't Resurrection one time.
They stole it from us.
That's okay.
The Lutheran Church, ELCA, their mission statement, the whole, everyone, congregations and their whole denomination is God's work, our hands.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Any other
fewer
statements?
words.
Anyone else like to share a statement?
Yeah, I would like to. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Excuse me, Miss Judy.
Here's where you have tissues.
I just put down, provides a setting where I can continue to learn of God's love for me and my family, and allows us to express our interests and beliefs in the community.
All right. Thank you, Judy.
So I was going to say that we try to take a small piece of all the rhetoric that we just expressed and actually make it happen.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it into practice.
Put it into practice, yeah.
What comes forward for me is what Joe says a lot, that we're a community that reconcile with each other and reconcile with the world. Reconciliation being a key ingredient for our community.
Sorry, I forgot to sing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it from you, brother.
Anyone else?
Well, you know, just to put her on the spot, Kim is incredibly good at this stuff. I'm wondering what's cooking in your brain if you're willing to share it.
Thank you for the compliment, but any of the work I do is because I have to think about it.
Ah, I see.
A
Yeah,
long time.
there is a response time.
I'm writing down a lot of what everyone is saying to, but it's not spontaneous for me to put it together. So
Okay, so we'll keep a placeholder for you.
and I'll send it to you.
Seriously, we'll keep a placeholder for you because you know there are different processing styles, and some people can do it on the spot a whole lot easier than others. So that's fair. Thank you, Kim.
One thing I wanted to
B,
add.
are you going to share the one? B,
Yes.
are you going to share the one that we came up with as a small group at the exercise?
Yes. I have 2 or 3 copies, and I know you and I were talking about it. Do you want to read the final one we came up with, Kat?
I think finally the one we came up with was to share God's love and transform people's lives.
What did you want to say, yeah?
I wanted to add something about the expression of God's love and the way we use music and art to convey an expression, but I haven't got a phrase or a sentence out of that.
That's still meat we can chew on.
Yeah. Just something to add to the pot.
Anybody else? All right. So we have done what we intended to do. We have all these wonderful statements and wonderful words that we can take back and think on. And if you have anything else like Kim and want to add something later, you can let us know. Now I want to ask, because it's about 11:48, Joe, do you want to go on to the video piece or do you want to end it here?
I want to just ask a quick question, so just let me do that. Think about what you've offered and suggest what video footage we might need to get to depict what you've offered. Obviously, an obvious example is if you're talking about the food pantry, obviously a picture, you know, video of people getting food at the food pantry would play. But is there an image, is there some that are harder? Is there an image that you would portray of us sharing our love, you know, in the way you've been talking about? Help us just brainstorm that. And there's no right answers or wrong answers. But it seems to me that, you know, as we try to figure out how to depict what we've heard, we're going to need your ideas about that. And that's harder. Might need to think about that.
So group images and two people images.
Or, yeah.
As one course, court conversation.
Yeah.
Is the purpose of this to share with other churches, other congregations?
Or the GoFundMe audience.
It's for the GoFundMe audience to show them what we've just come up with in words, you know, who we are.
What is the GoFundMe audience? I'm sorry.
That's people who give money online to causes that intrigue them, but they don't necessarily give money to churches. We're trying to break the mold on that.
Oh, okay.
And if it's inspiring,
oh,
you know, if it's, you know, something that people really approve of, these days, they will give money to you through online.
Yeah.
We've had an example of that ourselves lately, where people we don't know are so inspired by our mission that they've given us a bit of money. So I'm encouraged to think maybe the Tri-Tank guys knew what they were doing when they picked us as one of 20 churches in our whole denomination, to see if this is a viable method of getting funding.
I asked that question because I think part of what's important about us is not just that we do these things, but how we come to the decisions to do these things and to manage them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's important. I would think that would be important to people who are thinking about GoFundMe, because there are a lot of churches that fund a lot of things that they have money for. We don't have that kind of money, so we have to go about it in a different way.
And I contend we would go about it in a different way even if we had money,
Well,
because
yes,
because
but
of the personal relational aspect of it.
But I think, that's true. But I think it's important to say that a lot of people condemn a smaller sized church,
right,
because they think that's a negative. And I'm saying, what I keep trying to say here is, it's not necessarily a negative. It may be our positive.
Yeah, yes, go ahead, B.
I think that might be reflected in our how, that would be our next step that we work together on, and our what. We're just doing the why right now.
Okay.
So I don't expect people to start saying, oh, well, you should videotape this or videotape that today. But I wanted to tell you about it so you could be thinking about it, before we do our next step in 2 weeks. We'll come back to forum and continue the conversation.
Okay.
Well, it's too bad we can't recreate the opening meeting where a group of people sat around the table in the parish hall in church and said, oh, gee, why don't we do a food pantry?
Yeah.
And why not? That was the answer.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. What will it take?
And that would be the how, that we get together in groups and discuss the directions we want to go in as a group.
And here's the challenge, guys. I bet you all 20 congregations, are going to have a food pantry. So it's not that we have a food pantry that really is distinctive. It's something about how we came to it and, how we serve.
That's my point.
Yeah. And, I will say this, I don't mean to offend anybody, but when I first got to VTS, so we're talking 12 years ago, you say Church of the Resurrection here at VTS 12 years ago, and they say, oh, those old people,
Who are now older.
Who are now older.
Yes, but, we can,
older.
we in love can accomplish many things, and they've learned that lesson. Of the smart ones among them have learned that lesson. Wow, look what a committed group of faithful Christians can do. And you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. And it's an asset. It's an asset. It's a strength, not a weakness. And they need to know that, because they're young and their congregations are not. Did you see Peggy Coyle's latest picture from her window at Goodwin House? And Louise sent a good one too, of the brickwork being done. It's very inspiring. And I hope you've seen the interior pictures.
Yes.
I was standing in our new nave this week. It was incredible. Lenore was there. What do you think?
Oh, it's amazing. It's going to be really cool.
Robert was there. What do you think? You're muted.
He's muted. You're muted.
I was just surprised. The nave is real small.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you stand in the nave and you look at the hallway and the parish hall, which of course it was designed to accommodate in your view, it's not that bad. And I think it's actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it had provisions for the organ, you know.
It has provisions for the organ. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
that's.
Remember, we had a lot more church than we needed before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of
Of course, you know,
that's
social distance.
is
We
the
didn't build
thing.
it
I
for
was
social
thinking
distance.
the
Yeah.
same thing.
And we used to be able to social distance and then some at 8 o'clock, you know.
Well, going back to the videos, I mean, I think it's perfectly. I think somebody could easily. I think there's a lot of talent, and somebody can easily take videos of congregations singing, and the choir singing.
Yeah.
And for that matter, the organ. You know, a snippet of Carol playing the organ.
Oh, yeah.
I think so too. I agree with that. Definitely the music.
Jill, we've got an extra person or warm body for this.
Well, but we never get both the cats at the same time. Right?
No, that's too much.
Yeah. Well, we saw your cat's rear end a minute ago.
If I may bring up something a little off subject, Betsy and myself and Dina all get our nails done by this one woman. And Betsy was telling me that Janet, who does our nails, was wondering about the affordable housing because we talked to her about things and stuff. And because she's in an apartment building, Betsy, you said, where they keep raising the rent and it's getting to where they can't afford it. And how can she get on the list? And I said, oh, can we put in a good word for her? So, you know, we talk kind of ethereally or abstractly about the people going in, but we are aware of the people that are looking for the affordable housing and hope they can get in. I don't know if we can merge that into.
Well, yeah, there is a way because you know I've written a new prayer for us to start using next week, where we'll be start to pray for the people who'll be living in the housing. I get a lot of calls every week now of people wanting to apply and they don't know how.
Yeah.
I keep telling them, wait, there's a sign coming. Really, trust me, there's a sign coming. Right when? Last month. But I think that just praying and preparing our hearts and asking that God would bless them, it would be a great piece of video as we pray that.
I get calls about what the qualifications might be for moving in.
I did make a video of that thanks to Kat. You know, we had a congregational meeting and she told us what the qualifications were and how to do it and look for the sign that was supposed to be up in June or July, I guess. And I just snipped that and made it into a little video, and the Goodwin House guys have looked at it. But it tells them to go look at a sign that isn't there yet. So AHC's checking on, you know, what's holding it up.
So is it limited strictly to families, or can individuals sign up?
No. There's a few individuals, but it's mostly family housing. We insisted on it, remember, for working families. And the reason is there's plenty of affordable housing units for single people. The city uses a system where they have some places at Southern Towers they use. But,
There
you
are
know,
a few single apartments and one-bedroom apartments. And a few of them are also handicapped accessible. So
I've gotten a lot of calls from people who work at Goodwin House who want
Yeah.
That's kind of cool when you think about it.
Yep.
Yep. All right. So thank you, B. That was very helpful. I really appreciate you leading us through that exercise. You got a lot of input, and I love that.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for participating.
In 2 weeks.
Thank you for organizing it.
Our forum in 2 weeks, we'll kind of come back to this.
Oh, neat.
All right.
All right, guys. Go in peace.
Thank you all.
Thanks be to God.
Everybody.
Thanks be to God.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Bye.